The English Podcast by Ecsplicite. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Lawrence, and in today's episode we're delighted to be hearing from our colleague John, who, amongst many other things, is a professional bass player. He's going to talk about sound checks. We all love going to concerts in order to listen to our favourite composers, singers and groups. But unless we're musicians ourselves, like John, we may not think about the highly technical preparation that goes on before we arrive at the venue. Well, John is here today to set us straight, and as you'll hear, the process is one of clockwork precision and balance. Let's start with our question for today. During his description, John is going to talk about feedback. What do you think he's referring to? Is it A, an enthusiastic reaction from his fellow musicians, B, a successful conclusion to a sound check, or C, an unpleasant sound from a microphone? Well, we'll come back to that at the end of the podcast. Let's go over to John now and hear about sound checks.
My name's John Raymond and I'm a working bass player. I play bass guitar. I have many years of experience both in the recording studio and in live performance. I'm going to explain the soundcheck process. So the soundcheck process is something that takes place several hours before the doors open to the public at a venue. First, the backline, which is comprised of amplifiers and speaker cabinets for the individual instruments, is set up on the stage, usually on either side of the drum kit. The PA engineer then sets up microphones around the drum kit and in front of the amplifiers. These signals picked up by the microphones are fed via cables to the mixing desk, which the engineer uses to balance all the volume levels. He also equalises the signals to provide a mix. This mix is sent to the PA system's amplifiers. The engineer begins to build this mix from the bottom upwards by first asking the drummer to play a single drum repeatedly.
Let's go ahead and start with drums. Let's just start with kick.
The sound is EQ'd to get a pleasing sound, and then the other drums are then treated in the same way.
So let's move on to snare, if everybody's good with that. Take off the reverb for now. I said take off the reverb for now. Thank you. Great. Kick-hat snare.
Usually the bass guitar signal is checked
Okay,
next.
if everybody's good with drums, let's go ahead and add bass.
Followed by the guitars, keyboards, and finally the vocalist and backing singers.
Good.
The engineer then needs to provide a monitor mix. This is a separate audio system that allows each musician to hear a personalised mix of the onstage sound. The musician will either use the small speakers set up in front of them on stage, or better still, using IEMs.
We're gonna play some jazz.
These are high quality in-ear buds, similar to AirPods. A typical musician's mix will include a balance of their own instrument, lead vocal, guitar, keyboard, etc., tailored to the desired levels. IEM systems provide the best experience for musicians as they are isolated and feed directly to the ears of a musician. The band then performs one or two songs to check that there is no feedback. Feedback is a squealing sound caused when a microphone picks up the sound from a speaker cabinet and re-amplifies it. The musicians check that they are happy with the sound and ask the engineer for any adjustments to be made in volume levels. The engineer may also ask a guitarist, for example, to lower the volume of their amplifier on stage. The final touch to the monitor mix is to feed the sound from two ambient microphones, which are facing the audience, to the musicians. This allows the band to hear and react to the audience. Once the audience enters the venue, the acoustics of a once empty room changes dramatically. Bodies absorb sound. Fortunately, all the earlier hard work means that the engineer will only need to make minor volume level adjustments to provide a great sound for the show. The optimum sound in a live venue will typically be close to where the mixing desk is at the back of the hall.
Let's go back over some of that vocabulary again. A sound check is the technical preparation of sound systems before a concert. The back line are instruments and amplifiers at the back of a stage. PA stands for Public Address System. A mixing desk is an electronic device for mixing audio. To equalize or EQ is the process of making a pleasing sound. A monitor mix is a separate audio system loop for musicians. An IEM, or in-ear monitor, is a high-quality in-ear bud, similar to AirPods. And ambient microphones face the audience to pick up their reactions. So let's go back to our question, which was about feedback. What was John referring to? Was it A, an enthusiastic reaction from his fellow musicians, B, a successful conclusion to a sound check, or C, an unpleasant sound from a microphone? And the answer is C. Feedback is a very unpleasant squealing sound caused when a microphone picks up the sound from a speaker and re-amplifies it. I'm sure you got that. So, for those musicians among you, you will now be able to impress your friends and colleagues before your next concert with some highly technical English language to describe the sound preparation process, which is so important for a really successful concert. And, to get their attention, you can give them plenty of feedback. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.